Hello, everybody, and a very happy Thursday to all of you. A couple of announcements off the top before we get to the critiques. Number one, a reminder that Jasmine and I are going to be doing a rerun of our SIGGRAPH talk. That'll be at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time today. It'll be on our Facebook group, but if you can't make it, don't worry. We're also going to record it, post it to our YouTube channel, and all that good stuff. So, so look forward to that. Number two is I am having oral surgery tomorrow, so I will not be available to do a critique, but I will be back again on Monday. With that in mind, I know this video is a little bit earlier in the day than I normally do these. I try and usually wait till about 4 or 5, but given that we're doing the presentation and I've got some other stuff going on, I thought I would record a little earlier today. And then, so if you have anything later, I will try my best to get online and do some written notes. So without much further ado, let's get into it. So first off, we also have Mauro here. So Mauro's got this, got our character. We've got Adam all animated up here. So let's take a look at him. Overall, I think it's great. I love the shaping on him. I love, again, same thing. I love the level of light on here. I love that we can see the background characters, but they don't distract us. I love the attention on his face. I love the top-down shaping. The animation is improved from the last iteration, where it's more like, I love that it fades off and pops on. Like, that's really good. My only note at this point would be to, like, there is a kind of a bounce light on him here, like that you can kind of see up underneath his chin a little bit. And when the screen goes down, the screen is the main light source in the scene. And when that goes down, when that dims, you can like take it down a lot more in his face. Also in the projector back here. So as it's going down, like as you're going through and it gets darker, like really emphasize that. Even if it's a little bit more than what normally would be there, it's like that's where the action is. That's where the performance is this dim and then the pop. So like I think you can take down this light with it as well, and then allow that to really kind of pop out. Imagine, and it looks like you're cutting from the Disney logo down into black and then popping onto the screen. So allow the theater to go a little bit darker than that. But overall, this is really, really, really good. I would be very proud of this. I would be very proud to put this on my demo reel. So you're doing excellent work there, Mauro. Okay, second up, we have, before I go to some of the still images, we have Adrian was looking at, let's make this bigger. See this noise in the door here? So we get that a lot in the industry. Like, this is a very common problem. There are a few ways that we address an issue like that. Because lots of times you don't, depending on time, I mean, ideally you'd love to, obviously it's something with that shader, because it's not being affected by anything else. Everything else that light is hitting is fine. It's just that object. So there is a material, it's probably in the shader. So ideally you want to go into the shader and figure out what's going on there. But if you don't have time for that, here are some suggestions for you to help tackle that problem. Number one is that noise gets accelerated when you render something with an extended pixel range. So one of the things that we do is we will actually render out a section of the frame. Like, you already have it kind of sectioned off. Render out this section as a non-EXR either TIFF or and by EXR I don't mean the file type, I mean extended pixel range, so locking the pixels between 0 and 1. So really using any image value that does that. That'll help reduce the noise. You can additionally render it larger. You can render it at like double or triple the resolution and then downsize it in the comp. That'll help eliminate noise. And oftentimes that'll render much faster than increasing the samples. The third thing is you need to evaluate. I'll tell you this. The third thing that you can do, depending on the motion of the camera and what's going on, you can render out like if it's a locked off camera or a slight move on the camera, you can render out, or you can lock just one frame of this of that and kind of track it into place. Judging from your video, so there's some shadow moving across. If that shadow is a separate element, you can render that out separately. And then I'm trying to think what else. Oh, and then the last thing, and this is the most, and I don't know why I say this for last, but it's probably the most important one, is that you want to analyze, like, because I'm guessing that noise is coming from the specularity of that object, and you need to analyze the impact of that object versus like what you're actually getting out of it in the visual. Like, depending on what's going on in this shot, my guess is like that area doesn't really matter to the story, right? It doesn't, because also this may not necessarily be noise as anti-aliasing, so that's where the resolution might help, because it's very thin and very small and it might be falling under 1 pixel. But the biggest thing is like, how much of an impact does this really have on the image? How much does this impact the storytelling, and is this just proving as a distraction? So what you can do is you can just put like a matte material on it, something without specularity, something that'll, or just like remove that piece of geometry entirely if it's causing that much of an issue. Because honestly, I'm not certain, depending on the scene, and this is up to you, you can analyze how much of it actually impacts the final storytelling part. Because again, nobody cares if the door is technically sound, if it technically would close, but they would notice it if it kind of is off there. So there's that as well. And you guys can see we've got a pop-up here from Dipali. So here's my next update. I worked on the eye refraction saturation values of the BG and on light to pop up the character more and prop from a BG a little more. Could you share your views on this one? Sure. And that's a good transition into the still images. So let me just bring this into our Photoshop session. So this will be a live look at this one. Ooh, that looks a lot better. Okay, I mean, we're on this. Sorry, I was going to do some other ones first, but this one just popped up and we're looking at it now. All right, do you see how this rim light helps out a lot and it helps separate the character from the background a lot more? I think that's working out really well. I think we can push the warmth on this blanket. We can make this part of it a little bit darker and just push the light on that side. Love the shaping coming across here. I think that's working out really, really well and also tying the room together nicely. The one thing that I would do looking at this with fresh eyes is I'm wondering if, let's do this real quick. I'm going to try and desaturate and darken the background just slightly. So let's desaturate it a little bit because it's looking a little poppy. It's looking like a little, like it's just looking a little bit oversaturated. And actually it's still feeling a little bit saturated, specifically in the reds. Let's take down the reds. Let's go somewhere in here. And now let's take the character out of that. Let's see. Something like that. You can dial that in. It might be a little heavy. Something along this lines, because this will really help. This will also keep pushing the character to pop off. So, did I get that to go down? Weird. Oh, okay. So I think that'll help out a lot. And then, super ticky-tack note, just shift these eyedings down to right here. Right on that iris pupil separation point. But yeah, I think that's, yeah, I think that'll push it further, but it's really, really looking great. This is looking really nice. So how about that for efficiency? You just posted during the critique and got feedback. All right, Aaron. So this is where you were before, after. Very cool updates. You're definitely hitting the notes. Disco ball looks a lot better. These lights have more pop to them. This guy can go a little bit brighter. This one too, I think, just a little bit more. It might be falling in. You have to watch out when you do it. If you're doing a vignette over top of it, it'll muffle it. So you just want to get the shape outside of that, or even just take it off the corner entirely. The last thing I think we would want to do some tight shadows in here. Just watch out for that. And then I think we can add a little bit more, let me take this down a little bit, because right now, because at this level, you can see the JPEGiness is getting a little bit much. So the one thing I want to add a little bit more glow, and just a little bit more, because there's there's moisture in a dance club. There's like sweat, and it's a little hot in there, and that would actually lead to like this lens abnormality of like a little bit of bloom, a little bit of glow. And so I think, because basically what I'm seeing, and the reason why I'm saying that, and I'm looking at some of these areas around his arm and his chest and on Gramps here, and they are feeling bright and then crisp. And so that brightness would get a little bit like blurrier and glowier in that type of environment. So that would be my suggestion there. Ashley, good update. Much better. The depth of field is looking a lot better. Everything's looking really well. Love this on the side here. I think that's working out really well. I'll still give you a minute to get the eye notes down. Oh, and then the one thing I noticed too was just the eyebrows and the hair aren't really matching in color. And it makes him feel a little bit off. So I would just go either towards the brown or more towards the red of the hair, but just make sure that those line up. And then the seats are looking a little bit desaturated. So I would just usually movie theater seats, maybe I'm crazy, are reddish. So maybe shift towards that. They look a little bit gray and desaturated. And then I'm not quite sure where this light is coming from. I think it might be, if it's this one, you want to cool it off a little bit, because we're getting a lot of warmth in there, and then this light feels a little bit coolish, greenish, so I would just tone that down in there. Dani, good progress here. This is a very, very, very difficult lighting situation for this character. So I think you're doing a really nice job with it. So sometimes I know this looks better for the screen recording, but sometimes I like take a step back from it to get a look, because like sometimes if you get in too close, you can feel more too detailed, and you want to kind of take a step back to look at it compositionally. I want to just create a little bit like this region in here. A little bit tighter than that, but like, do you see when I zoom out? Like if you're just looking at that area, and I zoom out, like there's almost like a horseshoe shape, because it's like light on this side and light on this side, but like right here in the middle of his face, it gets dark. I'm not saying they all should be lit uniformly, because that would just be flat, but I just want to get like a little bit, figure out a way to get some more light in the central part of his face. You're getting really good shaping across here, across the couch, across his shoulders, along the sides here. Watch out for the material on that. That looks really, really large. You may want to scale that down a bit. I'm just wondering how we can get like maybe a little bit more light trickling. Like if you just move the light, oh God, it's so hard. Because it feels like it's not quite a rim light, because it's creeping over here, and it's not quite a key light because it's not quite hitting his face. Keep playing around with it. Maybe push it back a little more, and maybe tighten. I'm wondering. No, because we want to keep it soft. Yeah, so I would say either make it more frontal or make it more of a rim light, and that'll be a good way to go. And then if you can brighten up his t-shirt just a little bit, and like just so it's not quite as dirty feeling, and maybe make it feel a little more crisp. But that's my suggestion there. And then watch out for this in here. But this is coming, like, if you can nail this, this will be a really, really strong piece, because I think anybody in the lighting industry will know how difficult of a shot that is to light. All right, so Keven, we got your 2 iterations here. So I think this one is newer, if I remember right, and this one is older. So the one thing that I'm seeing, so this one actually has better shaping than this one. This one now is getting flattened out a little bit. And you can, like, look at his shirt. You can see it where it kind of just like loses the light to dark fall off. And what I was looking for here is like in the key areas, like in here, it's getting brighter, but it's like, let's take a look. Let's do it this way. And again, this falls a little bit off of the reference, but in this region here, let's take a look at this. Like, we're not getting any bright values. Like, and I'm not saying it should go this bright, but like, we're losing out on a bunch of the higher end values in here, and we're just kind of clipping it out at a kind of a gray, a mid-tone gray, when really there would be some sort of specular highlight, something in there that would make it pop a little bit more. And same thing on the dark side. It's just like, it's just lacking some contrast. So like, if I took this, say if I took this like that a little bit brighter. So right now it's just going to be like brightening up the diffuse values, because there's not a lot of spec to work with here. But like, if we took this like this, taking off the hair, do you see how this has more contrast and more poppiness to it? And I think it's more like that in that region. So it's just more just more contrast in there, and just push the light a little bit harder on his face. Again, not only in the diffuse values, but in the specular values will help out a lot. But like, this shaping is really good. Like, you can see it as we push it further. Again, Rembrandt triangle there, good fall off. Again, just really good, solid shaping on this one. It's just like, when we go to this, it's the color's a little bit better, but it's just, there's like the difference between like this side of his face and this side of his face. Sorry, the screen left and screen right side of his face, just like here to here, that value shift between those two areas isn't enough. And even in his hair, like, you can see, like, on this strand of hair, there's no fall off, or there's no variation from the screen left to screen right side. But yeah, but like, there are some really, really strong qualities here that we can keep pushing and going for. So, all right, that's it for the critique today. Let me know if you all have any questions. Again, I am out tomorrow. I will do my best to check in as soon as I'm feeling better, but general anesthetic is a strange beast, and you never really know what you're going to get out of it, so I don't want to make any promises before that happens. So I will talk to you all very soon, and if you're attending the lighting session, I will see you in 2 hours. All right, see you then. Bye. Happy lighting.